Hi, welcome back to Filmonomics is Slated. I'm Steph Paterno, and I am so excited to tell you about a sneak preview we had last week with a select number of Slated members, both investors and producers, to unveil a new groundbreaking service that is imminently going to be on our website. In fact, by the time you watch this video, well, if it's not live, it'll be nearly live. Now, I was joined by Jason Scoggins, one of my partners who's helped me develop this new service. And this service is here to solve a huge industry problem. Now, we all know that this is a huge industry. The entertainment industry is over $300 billion for home entertainment and cinema. And it is growing rapidly. But despite the size and its growth, or maybe because of its size and its growth, it is massively inefficient and difficult to navigate. Now, we've made a lot of strides with Slated so far over the last few years, but I think this new service is going to be a game changer for everybody that's been navigating these treacherous waters. So let me pull back the curtain and share our sneak preview with you.
So we're introducing today, this is a sneak preview obviously, our new script and financial analysis tools. So this is actually something that's going to be getting launched in the next couple of weeks. It's been in development for quite a while. These are, by the way, this is dummy data, so don't get excited or focused on any particular number you're seeing here. We are going to provide industry-leading script analysis and financial analysis for every single project that wants to have this service. So what does this all mean? Well, for the first time, we're going to be actually scoring your script and your financials, which in aggregate will give you an overall package score. And this is what investors have been looking for so that at a glance they can know how viable a project is. So what's the process for building up your package score? Well, the first step is building up your team, listing your team on your film profile. That's existed for quite a while, and fear not, if you have a project that doesn't have a team yet, our system is going to be built so that it helps you find your team. Or if you have no team, just go ahead to step 2 and submit your script. Script gets ingested into Slated confidentially, it's secure, there won't be any leaking any scripts out into the market. And we have a team of people who have been trained to review scripts and provide coverage based on the highest industry standards. And every single script will be reviewed by 3 people, because God knows one person and their particular taste usually isn't good enough. When your script usually goes into an agency, you don't know who's doing coverage, and that person's personal taste can have a huge outcome on whether the agency gets excited about your project. So 3 people will be analyzing it. There's actually a supervisor who supervises the coverage agents to make sure that their work is at top level, top quality. And then the final step is we take all of this data that we will receive from the scripts and everything we know about your team, and it's analyzed through a statistical financial model. And that is the final output that comes back to you. So giving you a little bit more of a close-up, every single script is analyzed across 11 different criteria, ranging from premise to originality, dialogue. I'm not going to read the whole list. But this is quantitative analysis by 3 different people, so everything is being scored and averaged, and ultimately a result of whether something should be a pass, a consider, or recommend. But we wanted to go beyond just quantitative analysis, so we also provide qualitative analysis, which is plain English explanation backing up every single number. So if you disagree with a particular number, you'll be given reasons from 3 different readers as to why they gave you that score, including page numbers. So the goal here is not to simply critique a script, but it's to give you at least rudimentary notes so that you could go, if you want, and go back and improve your script. Additionally, the reviewers are trained to extract metadata from your script. So what does this mean? It means we will know things about your genres and every single keyword associated to your film. We'll know the page length, we'll know what they believe the budget range could be for this type of film, the type of lead you have, comps, when does the film take place, the period. All of this metadata is then fed into our algorithm. So there's a lot of information that's getting taken out here for the analysis, which then feeds into the revenue projection system. Now, what is this projection system? It is based on looking at the global box office statistics, global free and pay TV, global home video. Eventually, it will be collecting VOD data, which every single independent filmmaker is dying to get their hands on, but this is something that requires massive crowdsourcing. Until then, the vast majority of your revenue is accounted for. It's all statistically gauged, it's completely objective, and it's being provided back to you with some very easy to understand charts of what your film might be able to do if it's released. So, part of the report, and again, don't focus on the particular numbers, some of this is dummy data, but the point is that the report has a whole bunch of sections, and some of the sections include these. So we're going to help you understand what happens to your film if based on a particular release pattern. So you might have said, oh, well, I would like my film to be released on 100 to 500 screens. We'll do the analysis for you, but we'll also come back and tell you what would happen if you had a different release pattern. And what is the statistical likelihood of you actually getting these release patterns? I mean, you may believe you have a film that should be on 3,000 screens, but we may come back and say the likelihood of that is 3%, based on everyone else that's ever done a film of your type. We may show you where the sweet spots are on your release pattern. Same thing with the release window. You may have a particular idea of when is the best time to release your type of film, and you may be spot on. Or it may turn out there's other months where your film will perform better statistically. You may have a particular production budget. We will let you know how that production budget typically performs for your film type compared to others, as well as what you could do to adjust your budget to get a different performance. Same thing with marketing budget. Again, it's nice to know up front what type of P&A you need in order to achieve a certain result. Now this is pretty unique. Since we have team scores, the package score for your film, we also know the impact of your team strength on the overall results. So if you increase your team strength slightly, by how much does that affect your overall box office result? Again, this is something you can't find anywhere else in the world because nobody has gone and crunched data to show what people's individual scores are. So I'd like to introduce you to Jason Scoggins, who is our VP of Monetization, and he's going to talk a little bit about the methodology we've used to prove out our system.
Right, so I just want to talk about a couple of slides here. We hired a friend of mine who works for the Yankees. His day job is doing projections for baseball players in high school and college, and projecting how those players will be playing baseball 10 years out in the pros. And I had worked with him previously on a previous project analyzing film projects and people in the film business, and so he had an affinity for this data anyway. We gave him 10,000 films over the past 30 years that he crunched the numbers on to come up with the algorithms that are forming the basis for the financial analysis piece of what we're talking about. We've been working on this for a number of months. You're going to see a number of movies here that were released in the third and fourth quarter of 2014 as Scott was doing his thing. This is opening weekend North American box office, and these are comparisons of Slated's projections compared to tracking and then compared to Monday actuals. This is a mix of studio movies and independent movies. And so you're seeing the ones that are sort of highlighted there indicates which of the projections was more accurate than the other. And then also comparing to Monday actuals. And you can see that compared to tracking, keeping in mind that tracking is being reported in places like Deadline and so forth on the Thursday before the weekend that it comes out. Slated's numbers are using the same data, but would be run significantly early, as you'll see on a future slide. So you can see we're running about twice as strong as tracking. And you can see our average margin of error on those movies is 13%. I'll jump to the punchline here. That industry tracking is 2 days prior to release, and Slated's projections can be done up to 2 years prior to release if you know the release date and the number of theaters that it's coming out in. The idea being that, of course, you can use these numbers to impact greenlight decisions.
Well, I certainly hope that you are as excited by this as we are. We think this is going to be a really great service that's really going to make a difference to filmmaker and investors' lives in terms of clear, sober analysis of projects and people and who should work together and how much money could be made either way. We are also very cognizant that this is the first step of a long process. We plan to iterate our service many, many times over. We already have plans on the whiteboard for our next version, and we'll be looking to collect feedback from you as you use the service. So thank you for tuning in. This will be the beginning of a long conversation with the industry. So keep watching. Don't forget to subscribe. See you soon.